Hey everyone, schönen Abend, welcome. So we are now trying to right my wrongs. So I've had a few streams that I've tried over the past 6 days, past week in fact, and none of them have been really working out. In terms of either the sim crashing right at the end or issues with the stream. So here we go again. We'll try one more time for the week, and then we'll call it quits if it quits for until later if it doesn't really work out today. So I want to tell you guys what we're doing. The plan is a flight here on the Airbus A340-300. So the reason we're doing the A340-300 today is just because I've had everything set up and ready from the A380 stream that I was on. Oops. And I just want to kind of pick up from here and keep it going, and hopefully it'll come up to do a half decent stream at the end of the day. Who knows? So yeah, so that's why we're here on the Airbus A340 today. The A340-300, the one from iniBuilds. It's okay. I haven't had great landings with it. I kind of like the airsoft a little bit better. Not from a modeling and textures perspective, but it's kind of more fun to operate the A340-600. I don't know why. But this is just pretty good, you know. So we'll take the A340-300. I think it came out this year or late last year. I'm gonna say this year. Good. So the plan for the flight is an overnight. So this bit of the stream is a departure stream, which is not too often here on the channel. I much prefer the arrival streams. And the flight is going to be one between Dallas, Fort Worth, and and Frankfurt. So the way it works now, we're estimating to push at 2100 Zulu. I think we might be able to get away a little bit earlier than that. And the arrival then after the whole spiel is scheduled to be at, pardon me, I need to get that time for us. The arrival is scheduled to be at 6:55 Zulu, but I think we'll be a touch later than that. So it gives everyone a nice good night of sleep. Well, at least for me in my time zone, yes, it's going to be a nice night of sleep. And then we'll catch up again for stream part 2, which will be the arrival then into Frankfurt. Won't be a lot of traffic, unfortunately. I thought we'll have a little bit of ATC here now in DFW. But taking a look at the VATSIM map, it doesn't look like we're actually expecting anybody. Hey Domi, how you doing? Thank you for being my #1 fan. Nice to have you back on stream. Thank you. And I noticed you were along for that Melbourne stream as well. Sorry it didn't work out. For those of you who didn't watch, the Melbourne stream basically had me maybe at 1500 feet and the whole thing crashed. And that was about 12 hours of flight time, right? So the one before that was an Airbus 220 from Luanda to Johannesburg. And over there I tried to push my hardware a little bit too far, and I managed to land. Unfortunately that wasn't out on stream. And the one before that was an event into Hong Kong with an MD-11, which I really appreciate. It's a really nice plane. So the fact that we couldn't get that going was disappointing to say the least. So the A340-300, before we jump into the flight deck, let's pretend that we have some important paperwork to look through. I'll just give you and I'm just going to give you a little bit of a heads up on the flight. So I'll show you what the plan is. It can get a bit boring, especially if you're not entirely familiar with it. But yeah, I think it can also be a little bit fun if you are familiar. If not, you can ask me questions, and of course I'll be more than happy to assist. And paperwork, lovely. So this is a PDF of our flight plan. I'll show you here on the Navigraph charts, quick overlook of what the flight's going to be like. So we're going to take off here in Dallas Fort Worth here in Texas, and we'll fly eastbound, and the route should take us I'm going to show you, well, I'm not entirely Well, let me show you exactly where it's going to take us then. So it's going to take us just a bit off the eastern seaboard here. If I'm not mistaken, that's going to be, well, I gotta clear this up. There's a lot of intersections on airspace. So I'm interested in cities, and I'm interested in airports, and let me make that world map so it's easier for us to see. So yeah, we'll depart Dallas, we'll fly north of Charlotte. I think this is Durham, Raleigh, Durham, I don't know. Yeah, Raleigh. And then we'll go just east of Washington DC. I think that's Robbinsville VOR, which puts us flying literally, well, practically right over Manhattan, which is quite nice, in Long Island there. Carry on until past Boston, and then it's into Canada and across the North Atlantic. We'll make landfall once again. We're taking Nat Track Tango, and then it's landfall again over Ireland, the United Kingdom, the Netherlands, and finally for the arrival into Frankfurt. And that's what this flight plan is going to tell you, of course. Just basically looking at some weights and stuff, because I'd run the flight plan a couple of times. As you can see, this is OFB number 3. And for whatever reason, I kept forgetting to turn off ETOPS. So of course, this aircraft having 4 engines means that it doesn't actually need ETOPS. ETOPS is for twin aircraft only, so this is not really governed by the rules. The average wind is plus 38, so it's going to be roughly a headwind, which is why our air distance is 4377, which is, oh no, plus 38 is a tailwind, sorry. Air distance 4377, whereas we cover more ground despite flying less in the air. That's because the air is going to push us along. Takeoff alternate, none required. The weather in Dallas is really nice today. Well, I wouldn't say really nice, it's bearable. Flight time is going to be 9 hours and 36 minutes, for which we need 64 tons of fuel. Based on that 64 tons of fuel, 5% of which is a contingency in case something goes wrong. That's about 3.2 tons. That's about 30 minutes of fuel. Followed by 40 minutes of fuel to get to an alternate Munich. And then 30 minutes of final reserve. That's about 2.6 tons. Which puts our minimum takeoff fuel at 74 tons, which would be enough for 11 hours of flight. On top of which we add about 35 minutes of taxi, because the taxi here in Dallas can get long. And that's about 600 kilograms, so she goes a block fuel of 74631. We're going to round it up to 747. No tankering recommended. This seems to be standard from SimBrief. I haven't had to say anything else. All of this is kind of important for when we enter the details into the flight management computer. This is the routing to our alternate airport, Munich, and this is our routing, what we've just discussed, but of course we're going to get this uplinked from the company. And that's it. We're going to look at the weights. Zero fuel weight estimate, maximum, below. Takeoff weight, estimate, maximum, below. And it says here LDG, because we were limited by the landing weight, which is the closest to reaching its limit, which is still about 20 tons, 19 tons less. No biggie. What I like to do next is to take a quick look here at the departure airport's weather. It's supposed to be alright. We have some real world weather as well, so we can take a look at the real world weather. It's quite windy, 220-13 gusting 22, 42 degrees in Texas. And there'll be more of it. 18 left is closed, simultaneous parallel traffic departing 18 right and 7 right, 17 right. So we're probably departing south, so we know that. A couple of taxiway closure. I'm just looking for the big ones, things like runway closures or nav 8 serviceability, stuff like that. But for the most part, I'm just screening through. This is just really boring pre-flight stuff, trust me. IAP, nav ILS 36 left, the glide pod's unserviceable, but don't worry, we're going south today. Cat 2 is not available, that's great, we don't really need Cat 2. Converging, ILS 35 left amendment, DME required, don't worry about that. La-di-da-di-da. That's an RVR, sorry, that's an RMP approach, ILS approach 36, RNAV, GPS 36. Well, it's a big airport, there's a lot, okay, so let me just scroll. 17 right. There's an amendment to decision altitude because there's some cranes in the area. ILS 36 right, ILS 18 left is unserviceable. I think they said we're using rights, let's see. Oh gosh. ILS 35 right, yeah, let's see, initial marker, I guess IM, so unserviceable, or the intermediate marker. Well, that's a lot. Different timings that the runway closes at. Okay, you know what? Fine, great. There's a lot going on in Dallas. Fantastic. In Frankfurt, when we arrive, the weather should be nice. Yeah, the weather should be nice. There's not much going on for the TAF tomorrow. 2512, maybe some rain showers later. A couple of taxiway closures, changes to the minimum values, taxiway closures, approach procedure suspended, change of the coverage, downgrade to Cat 1, downgrade to Cat 1. For the most part, Cat 1 should be sufficient. Change, 07 left and 25 right is closed, so we need to take a look at when we arrive, which one's going to be open, which one's going to be closed. And I think we should have that up there somewhere. Hold on. 6:55 is when we land, so all the runways should be open at that time. SIDs don't care. Excellent. And then Munich, 2 runways, great weather. So I say, let me see. Showers of rain expected also later. But that's okay. Munich is a further one, but of course we can go to other German airports. Düsseldorf is nice, Cologne is nice. So we can do that. Alright, the boring part is over, ladies and gents. Let me get rid of the boring part now. As always, I like to use the Planner app, so the Planner on the browser for leader charts. It's my preferred chart provider. I'm just a little bit more familiar using it, so that's the one we're gonna stick to on today's stream. Just some stuff about the said stream is only going to be the departure, of course. We'll get to top of climb, maybe even a bit earlier, and then we'll call it a day. We'll chit chat a little bit. I'll look at my phone, and yep, that's it. So let's go on to preparing the aircraft. When we walk in, of course, we do a quick security check. We'll make sure that everything's where it is. The aircraft hasn't been tampered with. No cleaners have come in and left things that they shouldn't be leaving. And because this is a flight simulator, we're going to say none of that's happened, and we're happy with everything here on the aircraft. So I'm going to go ahead here. I'm going to go start tuning the navs, and I also want to make sure we got enough. The status of the aircraft: autopilot 1 and 2 are not serviceable. The autothrottle is not serviceable. We're unable to do Cat 2. Folks, I believe that's got to do something with how I've moved the airplane around, so that's probably why it's not quite right. Oil quantity is great. Hydraulic quantity, yeah, it's sufficient. It's good for the flight. So we are good to go. I've started that already. Great, so let's take the pilot seat, the good boy seat. And I'm going to start working on the EFB first, just to get some stuff from the flight, for the flight, sorry. So import my flight plan here. You get the weather there already, it's quite nice, quite handy. So payload and fueling, we're going to import all of it from SimBrief, and we just want to make sure that those numbers do match. I've had instances where they don't. Fuel is supposed to be 74,631. And what we wanted was 74, excuse me, what we wanted was 74,631, 74.7, perfect. That's an exact number there. So we're going to instant load fuel, and then we're going to instant load the payload, because I don't really like the, I feel like the opportunity to mess things up with GSX is a lot higher than the opportunity to not. So we're just going to speed that through. Brilliant. Zero fuel weight, payload, they all match what we had. Fantastic. From here we're going to go on to ground equipment. It's really hot in DFW. If you've seen it here, it's 42 degrees, so the preconditioned air is connected onto the aircraft. I've done that already. Maintenance, let's take a look at the maintenance of the aircraft. Decent engine oil quantity, decent hydraulic quantity, everything's great. Haven't used the aircraft in a while. It's very similar to most Airbus aircraft, so we're not expecting any surprises. Let's get started with the overhead panel then. Fuel, hydraulics. What I like about the Airbus is just if there's a light, make sure you click it, make sure that the light goes out, and we'll go down one by one. External power is connected, the batteries are on. Check my oxygen mask. It's running well. And pitch trim set to 5 units. And I think I'm just gonna go jump in now to work on the MCDU for the flight. Nav data is up to date. And we're going to request initialization because the nav tracks take quite a while to set up manually, and I think there's a big chance of making mistakes there, which is why we're not going to do it. IRS in it, we're going to align the IRS on those positions. GPS nav, I haven't heard anything about GPS jamming in North America really, so I'm going to assume everything there is good. A company message has been received. Let's see what that message is. Alright, it's a load sheet. It's a preliminary load sheet. Zero fuel weight 163727. Okay. Fuel for takeoff as we calculated 600 for taxi, which is great. Trip fuel, as we know, we've talked about that already. 243 passengers. Potable water, nothing. So we're actually quite happy. Let's accept that preliminary load sheet, and eventually we'll get a final. On the secondary flight plan, I like to copy the active, and we'll come back to it after. Zero fuel weight from the preliminary is great, and we can go ahead and put the actual 746 is the zero fuel weight. Let's go ahead and put that in there, 74.6, and we'll wait for the zero fuel weight CG until we are done with the loading. So what can we expect out of DWC? Oh, hey Boygim 573. Let's play together tomorrow. Actually, I think I'm going to be busy tomorrow, Boygim. Maybe chat to you later. Come back on the stream when you get a moment, hey? Pleasure having new faces. Not that we see your face anyway, but yeah, you get the point. Excellent. Oh. Okay, so because my last sim kind of crashed, I hadn't checked one of my apps correctly, so now I'm getting a warning from that app telling me that I need to disconnect and retry. I'm going to ignore it and hope for the best. I feel like sometimes ignoring the problems tends to solve them, so that's what we're going to do. Let me tell you what the ATIS is like in the real world here in Dallas, departing at 17 right, 18 right. And I'll bring you onto my performance anxiety. I'll bring you onto my my charts here so we can see that again. It's once again the boring part. Just show you what I'm planning on doing. So that's how I look at it, to be honest. That's Melbourne from the failed stream of earlier. We're interested in the AGC. As you can see, massive airport here in Dallas. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 runways, which I think is maybe 5 too many, or maybe 4 too many. I'd have been quite happy with these 4. But I guess they've got also crosswind runways available, so takeoff and landings can happen regardless of what's happening. And I guess this is a little one where the general aviation doesn't really get in the way of all the big boys. Us being here at Terminal Delta is where we're parked at, so it makes me think that if we're using a departure 18 right, very likely they're just going to taxi us over to the closest runway here, closest departing runway, which would be 18 right, via Whiskey Foxtrot. So I'm going to go ahead and plan runway 18 right for our departure. What we need next is the SID. Based on the flight plan, we're supposed to fly out on the Triton 4 departure with a loose transition. So Triton 4, and a loose transition. Let's go ahead and insert that, and you'll see that Disco has been cleared. We're getting all the way to loose, followed by Memphis, and the arrival into Frankfurt is left empty, and we'll do that at a later stage of the flight. So for the arrival into DFW, most likely it's going to be 18 left for the arrival in case anything goes wrong. So I'm going to go ahead and have that set up and ready for now in case we need it. Another thing I like to have ready are plans with regards to engine out procedures and stuff, but we'll do that as we discuss the briefing. In fact, now might be a good time to go through a brief while we still wait for our load sheet to show up. We don't really need our load sheet. We can use that preliminary they've sent us, and then we can make that work. So here we are in DFW. This is a good overview of the airport itself. The other overview we want to talk about is the aerodrome facilities. There's an east and west chart for it, so a lot of runways, yeah, a lot of runways. And what I want to take away from this is the fact that there's no terrain really. 3627, and the airport itself is at about 600 feet above sea level. No terrain to worry about. So not really a lot troubling us for our departure. The departure was supposed to be the Triton 4 departure, so that's what it looks like. So what we're supposed to do out of Triton, departing runway 18 right, 18 right was to go on heading 176, and then eventually heading of 143 to Spiera, then go to Jurgel above 5 Courts, and then Church. From Church it'll take us to Jakes, Triton, and then eventually to Luce. For jet aircraft only, Lone Star departures on 1185. DME or GPS required RNAV1 jets. Transition altitude and level are the same at 180. I think the one we can tune would be probably the Maverick VOR Triple T. That should help us. But of course this is just a plan view. The text view will tell you exactly how you want to fly it, right? It says heading 176, intercept 157 to Spiera, then J-Girl, Courts, Church, so practically what I said. Initial climb is going to be 10,000 and expect the fall altitude 10 minutes after departure. So I'm going to go ahead and set 10,000. Another chart I like to look at here is the approach chart for the same runway that we're departing on. So we're departing runway 18 right. So I want to take a look at the approach chart for 18 right. Specifically though, we're going to look at the RNAV departure, RNAV arrival. And what I like to look at is the missed approach, which goes to a waypoint called Likes, climbing to how many thousand feet? 3,000 feet. So that's what we're going to do in case we have engine failures or something that prevents us from climbing out nicely. We'll just make a right turn passing 1,000 above the field, so it's going to be 1,600, and then we'll go to Likes and to hold at Likes as published at or above 3,000 feet. And the same thing exists if we wanted to come back for the ILS. I'll just go ahead and put a kel, and that gives us about 11 plus 8 miles, about 20 miles, 19 miles to run, which should be enough time for us to sort out any emergencies. Taxi is quite excessive. I'm not very familiar with how it works in the United States, but you don't really push, you don't really call for taxi on the ramp, and it's only when you get out. I'm not really sure. But we're here in Delta. We expect to go, I would go onto Foxtrot maybe, or carry on Golf, and then look for Whiskey Golf, and then cross at Whiskey Golf or Whiskey Foxtrot, 18 right for departure. Really long runway, so we'll be okay. In terms of departure lengths, 17 right, Echo Golf is about 3987, and the next one they have is 18 right is only got Whiskey Golf, sorry, 3987. So we'll just go full length for the departure out of Fort Worth. Great, nerded out on the brief. So let me go ahead and put in all those things I said. We're looking for Likes. Likes, where are you, Likes? Something called Fix Info. I need to find that page. Where is Fix Info? Nope. Where's the fix info page? I'm pretty sure I've seen it before. In fact, you know what? Let's just take this. Oh, it's here already. Gosh. Well, that's what you get for not knowing what to do. You know what? For the life of me, I don't know where the fix info page is. I could swear I had seen it. Okay, well that's slightly disappointing. But anyway, let's work on the secondary flight plan. The secondary flight plan, we'll say, we'll depart Dallas, of course, departure. It's going to be runway 18 right for departure. As briefed earlier, it's going to be the Triton 4. I'm not going to put a transition. Okay, we might as well. And we'll put in the loose transition. If that went in. Yeah, so most of it's in. What we're going to do is from JGirl, we're going to go ahead and tell that we're going to a new destination, which is back to DFW. And for DFW, we'll do an ILS approach for runway 18 left. And it's going to be via Grudge. Excellent. So the flight plan is ready for a return should the need arise. I think we can even go ahead and set up some of the performance for the return. But I'll do it as part of the arrival brief. Here I think it's better to just leave likes, which is the place I want to go hold it if things hit the fan. Very nice. There was another company message waiting for us. Let's go ahead and see what that was. Ah, that's our final load sheet. Okay. Actually, not a lot of changes. Oops. Page 3 and 4, cargo distribution, fine. Alright, we've accepted that load sheet. And what we need to do next is takeoff performance. Folks, you're going to have to bear with me here, because I like to do my takeoff performance out of SimBrief. I just feel like it unbalances the field a little bit better than what the iniBuilds performance will do. Not I don't know, it just seems to be a better bet for me. So that's based on our takeoff weight. Obviously pretends like we're not going to lose any weight. And that gives me a flaps 1 departure, flexing to 46, 36, 51 and 56, which is not a lot. And that's obviously with the bleeds on still. Sorry, I'm just going to go ahead and set 10,000, which we had from the SID. And before I finish things off, I want to go ahead and select the Triple T VOR that we had talked about, which is the VOR here. Oh, it's auto selected. Amazing. Great, in that case we can go ahead and set this up. 163.27, which just takes it up by itself. And these are the stuff that we wanted to kind of work out based on our flight plan. The fuel prediction page. So the alternate time here says 2.9 and 39. But I know to go to Munich is 4.3 tons based on my flight plan, so I'm going to go ahead and modify that. Final time for 30 minutes, 2.2 according to the aircraft, 2.6 according to the flight plan. I'll just take the bigger number so that we have a bigger alerting before. So that's 35 minutes instead. According to this then, the minimum destination fuel on board is 6.9 versus 6.8 on the flight plan, so I'm pretty happy with how this has progressed then. Gives us at the moment 38 minutes of extra time, which is 30 minutes of the contingency, I guess. For performance then, it's going to be a flaps 1 departure. THS is going to be, I don't know, we're going to have to look at that here. Oh, I really don't know what the TH is going to be. So we're going to pretend. You can sync all of that up, please. Thank you. Calculate and tell me what the THS is going to be for flaps 1. Flaps 3. No, that's a lot of flaps. Give me flaps 1 plus F, please. Should be 4.9 up, maybe. Alright, let's go ahead and do that, and we'll come back up. 4.9. According to SimBrief, I'll need to flex, which is basically taking a little bit of the power off the aircraft, flexing to 46 degrees, whereas this one wants me to flex to 48. 52, 59. Actually, you know what? That looks pretty unbalanced to me. I'm just going to use that. Send that to FMGC then. That looks pretty unbalanced. 52, 59, 64 versus what SimBrief had was 36, 51, 56. Which is a bit odd because the runway is not actually wet or something. So yeah, let's take that. We'll confirm that takeoff data, and that's in. NADP, I didn't see one, but we'll verify as we go along. Ladies and gents, to me that looks like most of the flight plan is ready to go. I'm just going to make sure things like this that I've forgotten are in fact all complete. Fueling is done. Like the nav lights on, but position 1 is okay. I'll get the APU started. Technically we're supposed to do a fire test before, but while the aircraft was on turnaround we had an engineer come on, and the engineer did the fire test. But I guess you just push these buttons. You see? Great there. How about this one? All fantastic. The APU is coming online shortly, and we'll get the flight directors on. Flight directors on both sides. 10120 altimeter. Parking brake set on my hardware. Let's just make sure it's set there. It is set there. Are they synced? Yes, they are. Fantastic. Off, 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 off. Lovely. And I'm going to take a look here very quickly at VATSIM. And it says here I need to squawk 0673 for our departure. So we'll go ahead and do that. 0673. I can go on auto already. Actually, let's leave it off until we're ready to go. Okay, folks. I think once the APU comes on, we'll be ready to go. And I'm just going to take a quick sneak peek at my charts again, just to make sure we have information on the departure brief. Sorry, on the noise abatement. Standard taxi routes, okay. That's gonna, if ATC comes on and uses a standard taxi route, that's gonna hurt. That is gonna hurt. Non-standard glide slope, departure, max IAS, okay. De-icing. Nope, nothing about NADP, so yeah. All good. APU is available. I'm gonna start a timer here. And we'll start taking off bits and pieces of the ground equipment. So APU is available, external B can go off, external A can go off, and as such we can remove the GPU and remove the air conditioning unit. Let's see how warm the aircraft is at the moment. 24, 22, 22, 22, but you can see the zones are quite hot. So I'll blow in the cold air any second. Brilliant. Excellent. We can then, I guess, prepare for pushback and start. Who's going to handle our push and start? It'll be United, who isn't here, so Donata, please. Donata, do nothing at the airport. Let's get the beacon on. Pumps are all on. Let's remove the chocks. If there's a comment now about me not doing checklists, there's a reason why. I've been doing too many checklists in my life. I don't want to do a checklist, please and thank you. And I also don't have access to them, so I don't know. I wouldn't want to lie to you guys. Okay, we'll advise traffic that we're going to do our stuff. And we'll be on our way. Let me just sort you guys out with some additional stuff that I think you might enjoy. Nice little moving map for our departure. Now, excellent. Let's get started. Well, they're locking the gear. Excellent. We'll let the air traffic know that we are going to push. What stand are we on? Gosh, I've already forgotten. I am on stand Delta 25. What's my call sign? Oh my gosh. We're gonna go nose left. 439. Dallas ground, Lufthansa 439 is an Airbus A340 pushing from stand Delta 25, Dallas. Oh, sorry, these guys use the CTAF, don't they? Let me get the CTAF frequency for Dallas. That's gonna be 12655. Get the APU bleed on, and let's start some engines. Dallas traffic, Lufthansa 439 pushing from stand Delta 25, Dallas. Well, that was a pretty quick push. Parking brakes, please. I'd say that engine start was fairly successful. Let's go ahead and start number 2 now, please. And I'm gonna let AC go. Sorry, I'm gonna let the pushback crew go. Can never be too safe. Let's make sure she's doing a good job. Well, using the wrong tow bar, I think. That's for 747s and A380s. You're already on my bad books, Elsa. It's gonna be an air safety report. Yeah, well. Story number 3. Well, since she's leaving, let's get back to the. Got the pin there. Okay, so I'm getting ding-dings from somewhere. Am I an airplane in real life? I'm not an airplane, but I do work with airplanes, I do fly them. If I was an airplane though, based on my size, I'd probably be a I'm gonna say I'd be an Airbus 330 freighter, not the Beluga, the one with the little under chin thing, if I was an airplane. Welcome Rompus 101. Nice to have you here. Is this your first time on the stream on my channel? Don't worry, it's a lot of people's first time. I'm pretty new to this, as you could probably tell already. But pretty new, I mean, like, I've been on it since November last year, so it's about to be a year now, isn't it? Okay, so engine number 4 has let off. Okay, it's going well for us now. That is all a good start. So the start sequence is completed. Everything is a-okay. Oh, nice. Do you actually play flight sim, or you just I don't know, just checking out if it's something you want to get, or what's your stance on Flight Simulator in 2026? Flaps here then. Oh, we missed it. The flaps are already down. Nice. Should be a little bit quicker with all that. Speed brakes are on. That's good. I'll get the predictive wind shear on, and we'll check the takeoff config. Before I go taxi, I like to take a look at the flight instruments, sorry, the flight controls. Ailerons all the way to the right, ailerons left, down, all the way to the left with the rudder, all the way to the right with the rudder. That is working nicely. Oops, I forgot to stop the timer, but we'll start it now. AP is going to go off, and I think we're ready. Let's taxi to the active. Forward traffic, Lufthansa 439er, taxi to runway 18 right, Fort Worth. Parking brakes released. Here we go. So I'll be honest, I'm not entirely sure which way I need to go to get to the runway. I know it's a general this way direction. Let me see. I think what gets confusing for me, at least, is the ramp control and the taxiways and how that really works here in the United States. So we're gonna exit onto Gulf, which is just beyond this line. What I want to do is make sure it's clear, looks clear, and yeah, let's go left. Just gonna look from outside real quick, so I'm not in anybody's way. I am not. Excellent. So in case shit hits the fan, we're going to go to Likes, which is a right turn. We'll wait for about 1,000 above the field, which is 1,600. Actually, we can wait till 1,500. So we can wait to 2,100 feet and then turn right to Likes. As long as we're above 3,000 feet of Likes, everything will be peachy. Everything will be nice. I am almost pretty certain that E175 is actual traffic. As you can see, all the gates are occupied. Well, a lot of them are, and that's because I've got something called GSI, which is Gate Static Injector. It's quite a nifty bit of kit here. And what it does for me is it just fills in all the empty gates. That guy is moving a lot, so I'm gonna assume he's real traffic. I'll go left and right here to give the gentleman some space. Yeah, I can see him twitching. So let's turn here. Ooh, a touch fast. And now we'll turn right. So this plane does need a fair amount of thrust to help her push. So the cabin is ready. Everything looks set for the departure. What I need next is some tunes to help me with the takeoff. I like having something in the background. Just makes the departures a little bit more enjoyable. Finlutter, how's it going? Hello, welcome to the stream. How are you doing this? Well, it's Tuesday here, but I'm assuming it's Monday if you're in North America. Good evening, good afternoon. How are you doing? I did do the challenges. You know, I don't mind the challenges. It's just I enjoy them a little bit more when I was on VATSIM 2020. The Top Gun stuff was really cool. The landing challenges, however, I felt I don't know. It was alright. Oh, nice, Zurich. That's a nice airport. I think it's a touch more interesting than Frankfurt, especially when it comes to just the scenery and the procedures there, whereas Frankfurt's more about the volume, right? So, yeah, great. Have yourself a nice flight to Zurich. What aircraft type are you flying? Oh, it's Whiskey Hotel. Alright, hold on, folks. Forward traffic, Lufthansa 429er, crossing runway 18 left. We'll hold short runway 18 right, Frankfurt. Sorry, forward traffic. See, I'm already out of the plane. I'm already in Frankfurt. Okay, Whiskey Foxtrot will cross the runway, and we'll wait in front of the next one. A350-900. Now you see, that's a juicy airplane. I've gone a little bit more retro today, Finlutter. Why have I gone retro? I don't really know. But I've had the, well, I was doing a stream on the A380, didn't work out, but all my peripherals are set up for the A380, so the A340 seemed like a nice bet to just carry on. with the stream stuff. The A350 is nice. I'm gonna assume that's an iniBuilds A350-900. So the question I want to ask you is, have you seen the A350, sorry, the V2 that iniBuilds have been teasing? Quite excited for it. I think it'll be nice. Forward traffic, Lufthansa 429er, clear of runway 18 left, lining up runway 18 right, forward traffic. Any traffic for the 18s, please advise. Alright, no joy. We are lining up, ladies and gents. Line up. Make sure this is on TCAS, TARA. Excellent. Oh, thanks, Finlander. I'll follow you. I'm going to send you a friend request on Volanta, and we'll see what we can do. And we can have some good shared flights together. Alright, guys. It's departure time. I need to concentrate a little bit. And ladies and gents, we are go for takeoff. Oh, top 10. Ooh, which challenge? I don't do the challenges. I really should. I think I'm more of a guy. I like the whole procedural thing and the whole departure and the joy of landing after forever. So that's probably why I don't do it. Okay, give me a second. We're gonna depart now. Add staple. Manflex 48 SRS. It says runway auto thrust. All the runway. That was almost a Vietnam Airlines in Munich kind of situation. I was a little bit scared. Flaps 2 next time, at least. But of course that was because of the heat here in Fort Worth. It's like 42 degrees or something. And of course the heat really takes a lot out of these engines. So, the F-18 won in the Grand Canyon, Rumbles 101. So, just remind me, was that in FS24 or FS2020? Because really can't remember the stuff on FS20. TCAS standby. Let me go in and turn that to home tour. Yeah. We all make mistakes. I've done some of the Top Gun Maverick stuff on FS2020. I really had a good time with them. They were a lot of fun. That being said, I don't think I've tried any of the challenges in FS2024. Oh, this actually looks nice. I feel free already. So clean speed today is 257. So that's our flaps retracting, or the slants out. FS24. No, you know what? I don't think I've tried any of the challenges in FS24. I probably should. I don't know why I just haven't gotten to them yet. So maybe one day. I just feel like there's something very arcadey, and I've never really been much of an arcadey kind of about it. Again, it just seems to be The whole procedural thing is what I'm really interested in. I do remember in the FSX days there was a, I want to say it was a Rome to Napoli A320 mission. I really enjoyed that. I enjoyed the Maverick stuff, but I don't really fly fighters all that much, so that's probably, I don't want to call it a lack of interest, but I feel like I don't really have the hardware required to fly the jets. You know? Like I do have the joystick and stuff. I've got a VR headset, but yeah, absolutely nothing wrong with that. I mean, are you on Xbox, on PC? Because I did the Top Gun Maverick stuff on FS 2020 with on a VR headset. I had a HP Reverb G2 at the time, and wow, that with the depth perception, that really helps. It was really cool. And yeah, you know, I mean, if you're more of an arcade player, I think things like the bush flying and stuff is actually a lot more fun than sitting here in an airliner flying over Dallas. Yeah, to each their own, right? I mean, I think that's what makes all of this fun. What I did do is with my brother-in-law, we would be on the multiplayer stuff sometimes, and what we do is we just go mess around. So I think the last time we did a nice sort of fun mess around kind of thing was when we were on TBMs, and we took off from Almaty in Kazakhstan, went over the mountains and then dipped into Kyrgyzstan. That was pretty cool. And in that sense, I'm more of a scenery pilot. I like to look outside the window, like we're going to look out right now. I think that down there is downtown Dallas. Yeah. Brilliant. So we have the flaps up. We're at 256 knots, which is our clean speed. And we're flying away nice and happy here from here in Fort Worth. There's traffic about 7,000 feet above us. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go up to 13,000, 12,000 in fact, so we don't get in his way. And I'll start cleaning up some of the lights that we don't need. So we definitely don't need the nose lights, don't need the turn off lights, those are okay. Seatbelts can remain on. It's good. So that traffic's 7,000 above. I'm curious who that is. I hope I'm not gonna crash into anyone because of fuss. I'm just trying to make a minimum impact here. So that's American 2353, also of DFW, and I hadn't heard him on the CTAF frequency. So, oh, because I'm not transmitting. Oh my god! Today I am a noob. Actually, the whole week I've been a bit of a noob. He's been consistently 7,000 above, so his climb must be pretty decent. I'll go ahead and set 23,000. Beautiful. From here it's practically a straight line. There's nothing really interesting. The autopilot is now engaged, and we can go back to Chile. I'll put you guys in a nice wide angle view. Oh, and we're past 10,000, so that can go off on the autopilot panel. We'll manage the speed, and that's going to accelerate the aircraft. And seatbelts can go onto auto. No smoking, absolutely not today. Not on board. Alright, that's the hard work done. Let's see if I can pull up some sort of a moving map or something so you can follow the progress of the flight. Brilliant. I think this is it. Yeah. Excellent. That's your in-flight map, and I can tell you it's a long way to Frankfurt. I don't know how long yet, but we're getting there tomorrow morning after my control rest. Great. So I'm hoping the quality of the stream has been alright today. For the most part, I've been struggling for the past week. I tried to do this thing where I was trying to push 4K 60 frames per second, and it didn't work out. So then I compromised, right? So I did 4K 30 frames per second. That didn't work out. So now I'm just a step lower now, and I'm hoping this will work out. I mean, I'm pretty happy with how the departure went so far. Stutter-free, no big deal. And I'm hoping it's the same for the arrival into Frankfurt. I like the arrival streams a little bit better. They're more sequence, organized, a little bit more action-based, so that's more my speed. Lovely. Oh, I do like the A340. That being said, Texas looks actually nice. When I saw that it was 42 degrees, I expected a lot more yellow, maybe a bit more brown from being burnt and stuff, but this is nice. You guys got some crops here. Pretty sure the guy living there has got a gun. But I guess that's what freedom does. I'm always impressed and kind of also surprised by how flat America can seem from the air. But when you're a little bit lower, there's more to it, like more rolling hills and a lot. But it seems pretty flat here. With not much to see. The weather is... please tell me I do have live weather. Yeah, I have live weather, live time, so... Seems actually a nice day. Warm day, but nice. Everything up here is great. What we're going to do now is we're going to run through the status of the aircraft real quick. Make sure we haven't broken anything. Speed limit exceeded. That's fine. That was intentional. And what are we looking for? Yep. Everything's okay. As you can see, the cabin's climbing. Pressure is going up. 21, 21, 23. Excellent. Okay, 11 degrees, 152. It's only from the intermediate stage. The high pressure stage is closed at the moment, so it's alright. Pressure, that's the same flow that we had earlier. System 1, AC power, AG, DC power, hydraulics are good. All about 3000. Fuel is great. All the pumps are on. Flight controls. I think I might not have done the pitch trim correctly, which is probably why I struggled a little bit with that rotation. That and the fact that the heat really took a lot out of my wings. And maybe we can do some external views as soon as we're past transition altitude. The issue here with the iniBuilds A340 is the external views are really loud, aren't they? Be careful with the ears, I guess. And what I need to do is need to put a little bit of background on this so it's not too dark. There we go. That should be a little bit easier to read the flight parameters at the top. True transition altitude, and it's standard here, standard for the flap operator, and standard Okay, and in terms of ATC, really nothing ahead of us. The guys in Memphis were online, not anymore. As I track across the American continent, all I see is some traffic around Boston. I think Moncton is okay, and the North Atlantic guys are online as well. So I really don't think we're going to get much traffic, or any at all, until we are in Frankfurt. That being said, we are arriving Frankfurt quite early, so there's a decent chance that the guys in Frankfurt aren't really active either. So I guess it's just going to be us in our little plane across the Atlantic. So I need to know how high up this plane can go. Line cruise is 330, ultimate 335, and the maximum 365. Let's go to 330. Stay the optimums. It's a full moon tonight. 330 set. Alright guys, I'm going to give you some information now. It's like 2 or 3 of you guys watching, if you're actually interested in the arrival bit. That's going to be at 6:30 Zulu time. Obviously I'll be here about an hour before to take, so 5:30 Zulu time, and we'll hash out this arrival together. And there's really not much going on. I'm just going to sit back, monitor, listen to some music, take a nap or 2, and that's going to be the rest of my evening. Failures are not on, so I'm not going to expect any failures, but yeah, that's how it goes. Oh, I have changes to my schedule. So it's... what the hell? Yeah, so it's another 9 hours and 25 minutes to go. So thanks them, unless anyone has any questions or something you guys want to talk about. I'm probably gonna bounce and watch one of those Marvel movies after Endgame, because I don't really know what's going on after Endgame. So probably gonna go watch Strange Doctor Strange or something. So great. Alright folks, catch you in the morning. Pleasure having you all on board. Welcome on board Lufthansa. Schönen Abend, and yeah, we'll catch you at Rhombus. I didn't know you were actually watching because it was just a little bit quiet. I wanted to ask you a little bit more about what else you play. What do you play other than maybe Flight Sim? You into racing games, you said, I think? Hold on. Let me go back on the chat there. Mostly rally racing, yeah. I've never really done rally racing. I got a little bit into Assetto Corsa. And then I had, like, I don't want to say a full sim rig, but I got one of those from, gosh, I don't even know who made it. But it's one of those canvas chairs. I put on a Thrustmaster steering wheel, and then I was racing. It was a lot of fun. But then it became a bit cumbersome, you know, you had to keep folding away the seats. Just something I kind of wanted to do here as well. I wanted a moving platform kind of rig, but since it's technically a bedroom, I'm gonna have to do that in the garage. So little plans, one by one, we'll get to it. I really want that motion rig. I just can't justify occupying an entire bedroom for it. No, it is here, quite excellent, because I was on time. Brilliant. Yeah, I think that's it. All right, Finletter, I'm gonna catch you now on Volanta. Let me just I'm gonna send you a request right now. Let's see. It is me. Oh my gosh, my Windows security is just hardcore now. Chill. Oh, okay, invalid. Let me see if I can't just find your flight. Oh, I do find you. You're at 34,000 feet. Excellent. I'm gonna send you a, I guess it's a friend request method. There you go. Airbus for life. And I like how your third screenshot is a 7478 though. Incredible. Alright, well, see you guys in the morning. See you, Domi. You're the only one watching on YouTube. Nice to have you there. Alright, auf Wiedersehen. Ciao, ciao.